and I will be the organizer for today's presentation. We're happy to welcome today's presenter, Mr. Joseph Leone, VP of Field Sales in the Americas for Silversea Cruises. Before we get started, I'd like to point out a few important features on your screen that will allow you to interact with us via the web today. We will be answering all of your questions at the end of this presentation. To ask a question, you will use your GoToWebinar pane. Near the bottom of this pane, there is an area that says Questions. If you click on the arrow next to where it says Questions, it will open up a window pane. This is what you will use to communicate with us. If you're having trouble hearing the presentation, please make sure your speakers are turned on. If you called in, please try hanging up and then dialing back in again. You can send me any technical issues via this questions pane, and I will try to answer them to the best of my ability via the same pane. Please note that all audience members are muted. We certainly want to hear from all of you, but with so many people on today's call, background noise would prove to be prohibitive, and we want to ensure everyone can hear the entire presentation. Remember, one of today's lucky webinar attendees will win a $100 Visa gift card. In order to do so, you must be on the presentation from beginning to end. We will announce the winner live after the Q&A session. Finally, please note that this webinar is being recorded and will be available for your on-demand viewing on asta.org by early next week. Now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Joe.
Great, thanks, Cara. Hello, ASTA advisors. Good afternoon, good morning to those of you on the West Coast. Thank you for sharing your valuable time with me. I will try to go through this quickly, but obviously with some detail, and talk to you today a little bit about, first off, who we are as a brand, how we'd like to be positioned, how we position ourselves to your customers, and how we would like for you to promote us to your customers, explain our product, and then a little bit about where to find that luxury customer and talk to you in detail on who our focus audience is and how we go out and source new luxury customers for ourselves, and what's really been successful at the advisor level in growing their luxury portfolio. So right off the bat, let's talk about us as a brand, who we are, what is our identity. We are a luxury cruise line, and with that, there are certain standards that your customers expect. We are absolutely no exception to that rule. Our ships are amongst the best sailing the open ocean. We have some of the largest average suite sizes at sea, all suite, mostly with balcony, all ocean view, all walk-in closets, marble appointed bathrooms, and of course, I'm going to tell you we have the best food at sea. I'm going to tell you we have the best service staff at sea, because we do. And that is obviously the staple of what makes us a luxury brand, but the other luxury guys do that pretty well too. So what makes Silversea different from those guys? And what you see here on the screen is the answer. Obviously, destination is a focus for all of us, but what Silversea can offer your customers through its destination portfolio is second to none. We visit over 965 unique destinations in 2019. It's going to remain that way for 2020. It was over 960 in 2018, making us the destination leader in the industry, visiting more than double the amount of individual ports that any cruise line in any market visits, and in particular on the luxury side. And we do so in two different platforms. We've got obviously the classic cruising, which is how we entered into this business. It was what our focus was. But 10 years ago, we expanded into an expedition product that really gets us access into the world's most remote locations. And we mean remote. I mean, we're looking at Antarctica, in Australia, the Russian Far East, the northern Arctic polar regions, and of course, our weekly trips into the Galapagos. So when you think about Silversea and your customers ask you, what makes Silversea different from the other luxury cruise lines? The answer is, if ocean meets land, Silversea goes there at some point throughout the year, and we're going to have that place of interest, that location that the other cruise lines simply cannot take them to. And you throw on top of that the best suites, food, and service at sea, and we become the obvious choice. And here it is, right? That is the distinction. It's 9 ships, a fleet of 9 luxury ships, 4 expedition, 5 on the classic side. Our fleet is growing, so you will find some information on the expansion of the fleet here in just a second. But here's the fleet as it exists, the 5 luxury classic ships that you see here was big as the Silver Spirit, which was recently refurbished and stretched, added 49 feet. She's up to 608 guests. We are not going to get any larger than that. Our plans do not include getting any larger than that. I think 600 passengers is the right capacity for our platform. The ships themselves, you know, the Muse is 596 passengers, but she's 40,000 tons. And in our world, 40,000 tons doesn't mean a whole lot anymore. But when you think about what other lines put on a 40,000 ton ship, it's not uncommon to find 1,250 passengers on a premium vessel of 40,000 tons, where half the amount of passengers on board makes a tremendous difference, not just in the service that you receive, the execution and the delivery of the product on board, but the space. You know, these small ships give you one thing, and they all have it in common, no matter which one of these you sail on, is this great sense of space, because we have such a limited amount of passengers on board, and there's a lot of hardware for them to enjoy to themselves. So don't have your customers, you know, don't settle for that objection that they have, which is, I think I'm going to feel claustrophobic on a small ship. It's a smaller ship with a lot fewer people, meaning they have a lot more space to themselves. So always remind them of that. And remind them that we strive to offer them wide open areas and the public areas that they enjoy on other lines, just obviously on a smaller scale. And then you've got the 4 expedition cruise ships down at the bottom. And with the recent announcement earlier this week, the Silver Discoverer in second part of 2020 will be leaving the fleet, and she will be replaced with the Silver Origin, which is going to be our brand new build, entering service sometime towards the end of May of 2020. This is a ship that is built specifically for the destination of the Galapagos. Everything about her will be built to take that destination's beauty, scenery, wildlife, and then, of course, the conservation efforts and protection efforts that we work very hard to make sure that we preserve that very fragile environment. Silver Moon and Silver Dawn coming online 2020, 2021. And there was announcements of 2 other ships beyond the Silver Origin going into 2023. It's an exciting time to be at Silversea, and a time where we need your support more than ever, because we're growing. The demand is here. We can sustain this growth, but only through your support. And this is it, right? This is the luxury lifestyle. You know, we talked about what makes us different. It's destinations, our focus of destination. We don't just do more of them. We do them differently and better than everyone else. We dock at the Tower Bridge in London when we sail from there. If the ship's too big to dock in Tower Bridge, we'll dock at Greenwich. And I think that you, through your own experiences, would agree. That's different than docking in Southampton. The destination experience is heightened by being in town. No question about it. And when we go to St. Petersburg, the ships are narrow enough and not too long to make the turn up the river to where we dock right at the embankment downtown. We're right outside of the Hermitage. And again, the difference between having breakfast on your balcony with the Hermitage as your background is really a big difference than opening your balcony and being at an industrial port. So this is the destination difference that we offer. We do so on that beautiful luxury platform on these 9 ships, soon to be 11 and 12. And then, of course, the standard, the lifestyle that your customers come to expect from a product like us is what you see on the screen here. And we are the only luxury cruise line that features a butler in every category. And customers like to tell me that they have a hard time finding something for a butler to do on the other lines. On our line, customers tell me they have to tell butlers to stop doing things for them because they feel like they're keeping them too busy. There's a long list of responsibilities that these folks must comply with and complete throughout your voyage to make sure that you're getting the attention that we've promised. And of course, the all-inclusive lifestyle on board wines throughout in-suite bar service, onboard gratuities, free Wi-Fi for every guest in every category. So that's us. That's our product. This unbelievable destination offering and this beautiful luxury platform. And we do so with an inclusive lifestyle, which gives this great value proposition to our product customers who may have thought luxury was out of reach. Once we go through the inclusions, see that there's a tremendous amount of value in those, and all of a sudden much closer in cost than what they would have spent on a lesser line. But let's talk about where to find these customers, how to keep them engaged, and the tools that we have to help you do so. And yeah, this is a contact sport, right? If we're not speaking to our customers, someone else is, and that is such a true statement for what it is that we do. what it is that you do every single day. So our recommendation is always familiarize yourself with the tools that you have. Your suppliers offer you a lot of resources through TA universities. We have a marketing platform that allows you to create flyers, emails, custom lists sent to your, to mail to your customers. We could create it for you and you could mail it. We could create it and mail it for you. So on mysilversea.com, the Marketing Central platform gives you access to a great amount of creative horsepower, if you would. For those of you who find it challenging to create a professional looking email or a custom flyer to promote any particular date, we have the tools to allow you to do that. And it keeps our brand standards, but also complements it by adding your call to action logos and other specific information. Your consortia toolboxes, you know, our travel networks are unbelievable, and each one of them has its unique advantage, and all of them come with consortia tools, toolbox, access to promotions, groups, amenity dates, host dates. So familiarize yourself with that. Take advantage of it. Industry reports. You know, talk to your managers. Speak to your area sales directors on my team. Find out, understand what your suppliers need. You know, what's our biggest need? What area are we focused on? Where do we need to stimulate more demand so that you can then use our resources and our tools in conjunction with your consortia tools to go out and communicate those sailings to your customers so that we can complement each other's efforts. We're usually going to have an offer for where we need the need. A tactical offer of sorts. You can combine that with the other consortia tools you have, and hopefully together we can get that demand that we're all looking to stimulate. Acquiring new customers, and particularly in this market, how do we find the already luxury customer? And, you know, it's really not that difficult. Big on social clubs and social groups within their communities. Our customers are very involved in their local communities. They're very involved in their local symphonies. They're involved in their local orchestra organizations, art organizations, gardening groups, bridge groups, anything you could think of. Churches, obviously, synagogues, temples, club affiliations. It doesn't have to be a high-end country club. You know, it could be a group that you would think not to source a high-end customer of, but you'd be surprised of what our customers' interests are. They're big on education, so historical organizations, museums, the boards of local communities for parks and things like that. You will find a large audience for our customers that participate in those types of things. So broaden your opportunities. Go out there. Be active in your own communities. It serves two purposes. Obviously, there's benefits in that for us personally, but from a business standpoint, the networking opportunities that you'll have is tremendous, and particularly with those focused type of groups. Again, gardening groups, wine groups. These groups are very important to source new luxury customers. And then, how do you identify them? It's, you know, through your own history with them, their past travel history. Where did they start? How long have you been working with them? You know, the client you've had for 25 years isn't sailing the way he started with you. He started in an inside cabin on a contemporary line, and he's moved up into a concierge suite on a premium. Let's have that conversation about that next step into luxury. And I'll show you how to do that with cost comparisons in a few slides down the road. Are they retired executives? Look at pay attention to the cars they drive. That's important. And then, of course, the homes that they own and the cities they live in, and their education level. Familiarize yourself with the different channels that you have available to you, and of course, in the tools that we had, and these two come together very closely, because you take the email marketing that we're able to do, the tools we give you access to through Marketing Central. We have social media posts that you could share. We also have an option to opt into some direct mail, have us send it. We send direct mail on your behalf. If you're the last agent of record, our past guests get the mail with your call to action, and you as the last agent of record, so we protect your relationship wherever we possibly can and support that activity. Digital content that's available through the website to share with customers. We want you to create and plan consumer events, myself and my team. We're happy to participate. I'm happy to go in person and do a 20 to 30 passenger consumer event. Don't think that the audience is too small. You know, here at Silversea, it only takes a few bookings to make a big impact. So I'm not against attending an event for 30 passengers. That's 15 couples, folks. If we can close, 30% of the passengers in the room, all of a sudden that can turn into 4 bookings. And if I'm really lucky, I could get 7 to 8 out of it, which makes it a really profitable day. So don't be shy to reach out to myself, my team, for these types of opportunities. I'm happy to contribute and invest in your future and in getting some new business for ourselves. And then editorial type of opportunities, reach out to us for, we're constantly in the travel magazines and the travel publications. We're here to help you get out into your local communities. So reach out to us for marketing opportunities. We're willing to listen to anything that we think makes a lot of sense. And from a marketing perspective, we want to stay away from the sea of sameness. We don't want to send you brochures that show you a picture of our chandeliers anymore. We certainly don't want too many pictures of the couple dining in our beautiful restaurant. I mean, at the end of the day, this is what you expect. You expect an opulent setting. You expect unbelievable food and the best service you've experienced, because that's what the promise is of a luxury brand. And it's so, we have to be so cautious of staying out of the sea of sameness, because sometimes, folks, I receive brochures from my competitors and I can't tell the difference between them. Quite frankly, they're using what looks like the same photos. I don't know whose suite it is. I don't know whose chandelier it is or whose public area it is. Not to mention, your customers didn't pick up the phone for a walk-in closet or a marble appointed bathroom. They picked up the phone because there's something about a specific destination that they want to go visit. There's a thirst for knowledge of history, culture, cuisine that they want to experience. We need that to be our focus. So when I tell you about the sea of sameness, think about what's most important to them. It's the destination. So we're doing our job to give you the creative tools you need to relay that message. When you see images that we put into the market, you'll see images of destinations, you'll see images of wildlife, you'll see images of culture, and sometimes our customers enjoying those, because at the end of the day, that's what made them pick up the phone. All of the other things we do makes us the right product to go to that place, but it's the place that's the interest. We don't want to lose sight of that. So when promoting us, remember destination. Start with that. Stay out of that sea of sameness. It's not a chandelier that they're calling us for. And when we're talking about an evolving target, who it is that we are focused on, people love to talk about millennials these days. I'm still talking to baby boomers, and we're going to be speaking to baby boomers for many, many, many years down the line. And the reason is they are not only the present, but they are the future of my market and my company. No question about it. And baby boomers today, they're more active and dynamic in retirement than the generation before. They see this as a time to reward themselves for their hard work. They're hungry for experiences and to learn about new cultures. And it's not just seeing new places, it's really learning and getting deep into those places and having a true understanding for that destination, history, culture, cuisine. And then, of course, these are opportunities to improve themselves, which is why our lecture and educational programs are so popular on board, is because this demographic is no longer just looking to check something off a bucket list. They really want to grow and enrich their lives. And our educational program is part of that. The way we visit and see these ports of call, it complements that as well. So baby boomers, without question, is our focus. And here's the reason why. You guys may have heard this statistic. It's been thrown around, I think, by every industry out there, but it is absolutely true. And boy, is it encouraging. Because when you look here, this tells us that baby boomers are, number one, the highest travel spenders today. The generation before them were a little more cautious with their money, right? Baby boomers today are the highest travel spenders. 68% of the country's disposable income is controlled by this audience. And in the next 20 years, this generation, this set of people is set to inherit $15 trillion over the next 20 years. Only 5 to 10% of marketing is targeted toward the segment. I can tell you that percentage is far greater for Silversea. Most of our marketing efforts are targeted towards this group, rightfully so. This is why. And if you think of the opportunity, the growth that we're seeing in the luxury market seems scary to some folks. But when I think of what's on the screen here, it shows that it's sustainable. It's sustainable because we have this, and you think of what this generation has that the generations before them didn't. Those generations weren't the beneficiaries of these inheritances, where I think most of the people in this generation have parents who saved for a future and planned to leave something behind. So here we go. This is how we're going to start speaking to them. Because to these folks, luxury has evolved. It's different. It's about authenticity. It's memorable experiences. It's not comfort and opulence or really expensive hard goods anymore. Exclusivity resides in the things that are simple, beautiful, and true. And that's so true with our product, and we try to stay to that. It particularly comes through on the expedition side, as you would imagine. And this last quote down here is so true, and one that I really taken a liking to, because the more I analyze it, the more I agree with it. You know, experience is the new currency in luxury, and if you think about that for just a second, the currency in luxury used to be opulence, really expensive textures, locations, brand names. This is what people used to associate with luxury, where now I think it's different. There is a big luxury aspect of being in Papua New Guinea, sitting on dirt in a grass hut, enjoying local customs and learning about their history through song and dance. And then you get back to the comforts of your suite on the ship. Our customers see luxury in that. Years ago, that wasn't considered a very luxurious vacation or luxurious type of setting, where now I think people see that there's authentic beauty in those things, and they themselves become unique, therefore making them part of the luxury experience. So where do we find these folks, right? Because they're out there, they may not have received their inheritance yet, but they will soon. So how do we keep an eye out for them when they do? Here's where they live, and this is really the focus of our message when we're out there speaking to you in person and training and visits. So premium cruise clientele. We talked about the client's life cycle and how they graduate up through the different markets. This is absolutely true with us. And you look here at the premium cruise line market is where we have the biggest opportunity to source new business. No question about it. Escorted land tour clientele, those clients that are getting tired of the grueling schedule involved with packing and unpacking and getting on buses, off buses, now ready for deep water cruising. Bring them to Silversea. Our price points are very similar, and we're much more inclusive than what they're used to on land. River cruise clientele. You know, some of us sit here and try to draw these comparisons between river cruise and ocean. I think we're really off base. I think river does a lot of things, most things we can't do. We do most things they can't do. There are a few similarities that I do want to draw attention to, though. Price point, number one. And number two, the inclusive nature on board. River cruising is becoming more and more inclusive. We're an inclusive product. I would throw a third one there is the downtown immersion and the destination experience. River cruising does a good job of getting you right into town. We do a good job of doing that as well. We are the leader in cruising when it comes to getting you into the downtown ports and that kind of small city feel. Multi-generation families and travel, don't shy away from those milestones. Honeymooners spend more on their vacation than they probably will ever again. They spend way outside of their means. So do milestone birthdays and anniversaries. And when we talk about experience being the new currency in luxury, think about this for a second. Grandma's not going to buy a diamond ring this year or a brand new Mercedes. She's much more interested in taking all 16 of you to the Galapagos and watching their grandkids snorkel with sea lions. That's where the experience is, and that's a luxury vacation to her. So keep that in mind. Look for those multi-generational families and those milestone dates, because folks tend to spend outside of their means for those. And here it is, because this is what sets us apart. This is why you have this opportunity in the lower segments, particularly in the premium line, because we go to more places. We could take them where they want to go in the world. You see this map. You see how extensive our portfolio of itineraries is. But think of what it means to be on the same size ship with half the amount of passengers. The room sizes, when you get up into those premium suites, our lowest suite is larger than some of their largest. And when you talk about service levels, you know, it's one thing for us to talk to passengers about crew to passenger ratios. But when you look at this illustration down at the bottom left-hand corner, it really puts it in perspective. it really, you can understand how many people have to get their next course before you get your second one. Where on a little further to the right, the 1 for 1.4, that looks a lot more enjoyable and a lot more attentive. It really pops for your customers. But service is big. It really does change the experience. Because here's the opportunity. Here it is right here. When we talk about the 4 luxury cruise lines combined, we take all the luxury berths that we have in existence right now, just amongst these 4, it's less than 9,000 opportunities on a weekly basis. If we take just the main suite categories on the other premium lines, and we talk about, you know, the Princess Grill and the mini suite customer, and we think about those opportunities, there's almost 72,000 opportunities, and this number has grown since this graphic was created. So it's almost endless. You know, we're sitting here, Regent, Crystal, Seabourn, these guys do a great job. It's really hard for me to get one of their loyal past guests, and good luck for them trying to take one of mine. Really, really tough stuff. But introducing that premium customer to a new level of cruising, one that they're ready for, and one that we could show that's very close in cost to what they're paying on premium, that's where there's almost endless opportunity and where we should have our focus, because that's the future of our brand. It's with those baby boomers. That's where they're sailing right now. And here's how we're going to do it. You look at this illustration. This is our premium cruise line comparison. It's available on our website at mysilversea.com. We're redoing these for 2019, so a new version will be available, but the conversation holds up. This portion of the slide shows you how we are in comparison to the overall experience. Second, there's no comparison. We are the elevated experience. You can see that with the ratio of the service ratios, passenger capacity, number of days at port, and then, of course, the upgraded amenities and linens that are listed here. But the price is upgraded too, right? Almost 3 times the price, what it seems like on the slide. But here's where we really had a lot of success, is going through the value proposition. And it's really the third part of our message. You know, message starts with destination, goes into this beautiful luxury platform, but value has to be the third part of it, and that's how we're really going to wrap it up and be successful in moving people up. And you go through what we include versus what they don't. I even added some numbers here for what I don't include either, because this is the cost conversation. And really what this is to try and is to overcome the objection on price or the misconception that luxury is out of reach, because it is not. It is very much in reach. And not only are you trying to upsell them, it's not about upselling them. It's about bringing them to the product that's going to deliver the best experience for the money they're going to spend. And this is going to help you really articulate that message. Because once we get down to the inclusions, when we look at the total cost, all of a sudden we're not 3 or 4 times the price. All of a sudden we're not out of reach. And quite frankly, using a grid like this makes it a very appropriate conversation, because we're trying to bring our customers to the product that's going to best fit their needs. And when we're looking at something like this, we know we're the product that best fits all of those needs. So use these comparisons to your advantage. Help us create those new luxury customers that are going to keep us full for the many, many years to come. Tip number 2 is build a successful co-op plan with your supplier. Again, use your consortia and supplier tools, but you know, these have to be, there must be an end objective. We want to be organized on how we're going to communicate and what we're going to communicate, and to measure the success that you're achieving towards the objective that we've set. And then, of course, they need to be adaptable and flexible. I know there are many different business models out there, and we have a program to fit most of them. So come to us. And in doing so and in building your plan, pay attention to these key points. Be transparent with us. Come to us with a win-win for both, obviously. And we'll be as generous as we can afford to be. Share details that help us, you know, share details on the demographics, the amount of passengers that you're going to go and communicate to, how you're going to segment those lists, the types of success that you may have had with other suppliers and mailing to those types of lists. This helps us invest more. And then, of course, setting up those clear objectives, right? Obviously, we want to generate awareness about our brand, but we also want to strengthen our relationship, and we want your customers to know that you're a supporter of Silversea and that you are a key partner for us as well. And in the end, all of this in hopes of generating strong and revenue growth. So we'll set targets to align your database with who we need to be the desired audience. And just a quick cheat or a note for you to take down. My recommendation is you present our product to anybody that spends $250 per person per day, cruise only, to go on any product. Anybody spending $250 per person per day, cruise only, is a perfect prime candidate for Silversea Cruise, because by the time you add on and add up what they have to pay for air and everything else that we include, you'll find that their per diems are going to be right in line with what we charge on a daily basis. And they won't have the constant reminder throughout their vacation that they're still paying for it with every passing day. Build a marketing plan that is strategic and it's focused. We've got different tactical levers that we can give you access to, and of course, we want to use use your expertise on the levers that work best for you, right? The levers that give you the best results. We know it's not just a one-stop shop and one size fits all. So work with your area sales director, work with myself and the inside team here. Let's build a plan. Let's build a plan and go and action it, because in the end, the overall objective is this virtuous circle. This is what we're all striving for. And when we achieve it, there are many, many advantages seen by both. And you know, for your customers, they get the luxury experience they think they've been paying for all along in those big suites on those other lines. They get that experience they didn't think they could afford before. Your agency and your advisors, you make twice as much money on the first booking, that's for sure. And in many cases, in comparison with premium prices, you're making 4 times as much. Silversea gets a new guest in the process. And then, of course, we both get repeat referral and long sustained business for the future. So that's the objective. And we want to help you get there however we can. And I know that this is obviously goes without saying, especially with this seasoned audience, but it's important to go over it and remind ourselves. Qualify our customers. If we're presenting a product before we're asking questions, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to ourselves out of more sales than we know. Without knowing what your customer's need is, you don't know what product to present and what recommendations to make. Don't lose sight of the most important portion and part of the sales process, which is qualifying your guests and understanding what makes their interest tick, what's important to them. Once you do that, please don't lead with price, particularly with us. We've got to qualify first, then explain how our product and present the right presentation that our product fits those important needs. The price comes at the end, and don't be afraid of it. Our customers understand that they're going to get quality, especially after you've just explained the value proposition. The price really isn't as scary as it sounds if we lead with it, or if we don't qualify the guest to make sure that we're talking about the right product for them. And of course, you know, talk about your experience. And people value this. They want to know about your experiences out there or your relationship with us, and talk about that value proposition, because price should be last. Destination is their focus. That's first. Asking the right questions and describing our product and how it's going to fit those needs is great, and price comes last, because value is an important part of the conversation. And just a couple of last points here. Prove your worth and gain their trust. Be honest with your customers. Again, if you qualify, then you can honestly recommend the best products for them, so that trust will always be there. Enjoy what you do. We're creating dreams, and I know customers can be difficult at times. I know we as suppliers can make your lives more difficult at times, but let's not lose sight of the fact that we're making dreams come true, as difficult as it may be at times. Have fun doing it, because we make people happy with what we do, and we should be happy doing it. It's a fun business, and one that again, we can make a lot of money in. So if we enjoy ourselves, have fun, are responsible with the choices and the recommendations we make to our customers, we're going to make a lot of money for many, many years to come. And with that, I really hope that you found some valuable points and tips here throughout our presentation, that you're able to go and find those existing luxury customers that may not be sailing on luxury right now, but you already own. You may have thought, hopefully many of you thought of several customers throughout this presentation that you may not have thought of as a luxury guest, but you do think of them as a luxury guest now, in a good potential and opportunity to present our product. I'm going to give you my contact information so that you could reach out to me with any questions that you might have. Again, my name is Joe Leon, and my email address is josephl@silversea.com. That's JOSEPHL@silversea.com. And again, thank you for your valuable time. And Cara, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have at this point.
Thank you, Joe. It looks like we don't have any questions that have come in just yet, other than a few questions from those who joined us a little bit later. Just so everyone is aware, this was recorded and will be available on ASTA.org for your on-demand viewing pleasure. I know that we also had some questions about Joe's contact information that he has since provided. Let's go ahead and leave questions open for just a few more seconds. Just want to make sure that nobody has any pressing questions that they're eagerly typing away. Again, Joe, another webinar that it seems that you have covered everyone's questions, and I am only getting amazing feedback for how wonderful the presentation was and how important the information has been for them to learn.
Oh, great. Good. I'm glad you all found it valuable, because I know your time is your most limited resource. So thank you for sharing it.
All right. Looks like only good feedback coming in. Thank you all so much for the nice words for Joe. Doesn't look like we have any questions, but you all do have his contact information should you want to reach out with anything. It looks like our lucky winner for today is going to be Mr. Paul Wilbert. Paul, how convenient. Not only did you actually just type in to tell Joe congratulations, but you're also our raffle winner as well. Thank you again, as Joe had said, to all of our advisors.
What did Paul win? What are we giving him?
We're giving him a $100 Visa gift card. Paul, don't you spend that all in one spot.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
As Joe had mentioned, thank you all for joining us. We are so excited to have you all be a part of ASTA, and we hope that you have an amazing remainder of the afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye, Carl.
Bye.